Let's explore the key components of a cone and understand how they relate to one another through geometry. This triangle represents a cross-section of a cone. If you were to take a knife and cut directly through the center of a cone from top to bottom, this is what you would see. The horizontal line BC forms the base of our cone, while the vertical line OA represents the height extending from the center of the base to the apex. To understand the surface area of a cone, we need to identify three critical measurements. Let's label them one by one. First, we have the radius, labeled as r. This is the distance from point O at the center of the circular base to any point on the edge of that base, like point C. Next is the height, labeled as h. This is the perpendicular distance from the center of the base to the apex A. The height is always at a right angle to the base. Finally, we have the slant height, labeled as L. This measures the straight line distance from the apex A to any point on the circumference of the base, such as point C. The slant height is crucial for calculating the surface area of a cone. Notice that these three measurements, the radius, the height, and the slant height, form a right triangle. This is key to understanding how we can relate these measurements using the Pythagorean theorem. Since we have a right triangle, we can apply the Pythagorean theorem to find a relationship between these three critical measurements. We start with L squared on one side of our equation. According to the Pythagorean theorem, this equals r squared plus h squared. This completes our equation. L squared equals r squared plus h squared. This is the Pythagorean theorem applied specifically to the dimensions of our cone. Let's see how each part of this equation corresponds to our cone's dimensions. The slant height squared, L squared, appears on the left side of our equation, while on the right side we have the radius squared, r squared, plus the height squared, h squared. This relationship gives us a powerful tool. If we know any two of these values, we can calculate the third. For instance, if we know the radius and height of a cone, we can determine its slant height using this formula. This is essential for finding the surface area of a cone, which depends directly on the slant height. To summarize what we've learned, a cone has three key measurements: the radius of the base, the height, and the slant height. These three values are related through the Pythagorean theorem, where the slant height squared equals the radius squared plus the height squared. This fundamental relationship helps us understand the geometry of cones and calculate their